The police said it was a serial killer. But I found proof that it's a network. And it's still operating. The key was heavy. Old, with a brass stem they stopped making 40 years ago. I stood in front of the architect's house and understood. Behind this door was the answer. Maybe the final one. The address was familiar. Same district, same series of buildings. But this house was different. It had no apartment entrances. It was a separate mansion, tucked between two 9-story blocks, like it had been placed there by mistake. On the plaque, no name, just a number, 13. I put the key in the lock. It turned without a sound, as if the mechanism had been waiting for me for years. Inside it smelled like dust and old paper. No furniture, just a hallway leading to a staircase. The stairs went down, to the basement. Of course, everything was always in the basement. I went down. In front of me was a heavy metal door with a keypad lock. But I didn't need a code. Hanging on the handle was a sheet of paper. On it, one word, come in. If you like stories where the system turns out to be bigger than you ever imagined, subscribe to the channel. This is the final part. And what I found behind that door explained everything. Behind the door was not just a room. It was an entire floor. Underground, windowless, lit only by monitors. Dozens of monitors on the walls. Each one showed a camera feed. I stared. They were entrance halls, stairwells, apartment doors, and I recognized them. These were the buildings where the victims had disappeared from. 12 buildings, 12 entrances, all under surveillance. But who was watching them? I turned around. At a desk I hadn't noticed right away sat a man. He was around 60. Gray hair, glasses, calm eyes. He didn't look like a killer. He looked like a librarian. You're right on time, he said. I was just finishing the archive for this month. I asked, who are you? He smiled. I'm the one you've been looking for, the architect's son. But you can call me the keeper. I took a step forward. You killed people. He shook his head. I don't kill. I keep records. The ones I choose do the killing. Makarenko was one of them. But he refused. I had to replace him. Now I'm looking for a new one. I stared at the monitors. On one of them was my entrance. My apartment. Live feed. You've been watching me from the very beginning. The keeper nodded. Of course. You bought the apartment that is the center of the system. I couldn't ignore a candidate like that. You found the room. You figured out the scratches. You even came here. No one has gone this far in 20 years. I asked, why? Why this whole system? He stood up, walked to one of the walls and opened a cabinet. Inside were folders. Hundreds of folders. This is the archive. Each folder is a person. Lonely. No family. No children. The ones nobody will look for. The state wastes resources on them. We optimize. It's not murder. It's selection. I felt cold. It sounded insane. But he spoke calmly, as if explaining an accounting report. And the scratches? Why them? The keeper shrugged. It's tradition. My father started it. Each scratch is a completed order. But 12 is the limit for one keeper. After the 12th, you have to pass the system on. I'm looking for a successor. Makarenko didn't work out. But you fit. He handed me a folder. I opened it. Inside was my name, my biography, my habits, and the last page was blank. Here you'll write the name of your first target. If you agree. If not, the 13th scratch. But you understand there's no way out. You're already inside. You know too much. The police won't believe you. And if they do, you'll become an accomplice. Because you didn't report it immediately. You played my game. I looked at the blank page. Then at the monitors. On one of them, a neighbor from my building was walking out of the entrance. She had no idea she was being watched. That her name was probably already in one of these folders. I asked, what if I destroy the archive? The keeper laughed. You think this is the only archive? This is just one of 13. In every district there's a keeper, a network, a game. If I disappear, another one will take my place. The system won't stop. It's bigger than me, bigger than you. I put the folder down on the table. I won't be your successor. The keeper looked at me with a long gaze. Then he said, "Then you'll walk out of here. And in 24 hours, the police will find your body in that same basement, with the 13th scratch on the wall. And in your apartment, they'll find the archive. You'll become the new Makarenko. The case will close. And I'll find the next one. That's also a game." And it continues. I was silent. I knew he wasn't bluffing. I knew the system was truly bigger than it seemed. But I also knew something he didn't. When I walked into this house, I wasn't just holding a key. I had a phone in my pocket, turned on a live call with the detective who escorted me to the prison. He heard everything, every word. And right now, while the keeper was smiling, the police were surrounding the house. I looked at the monitor showing my entrance, and I saw people in uniform approaching the door. "You said the system is bigger than you," I said. "But you forgot one thing. You're not the system. You're just a part of it. And parts can be replaced." The keeper followed my gaze. He saw the police on the monitor, and his face changed. "You don't understand," he said. "Now you're part of the system. You defeated me, but you've already become what you were meant to become. You came here on your own. You played, and you won. And the winner gets the prize. You're the keeper now, whether you want it or not." The police burst into the room. The keeper was arrested. The archive was seized. I was questioned and released. The case was reopened. 12 murders. A network. A system that had been operating for decades. The news said it was the biggest breakthrough in years. But no one knew what happened next. A month later, I received a letter. No return address. Inside was a key, just like the one that opened the door to house number 13, and a sheet of paper. On it, one sentence. "Are you ready to become the keeper? The game continues. We await your answer. P.S. Look at your wall." I went home. In the living room, on the same wall where the 12 scratches had been, a new one had appeared. The 13th. Fresh. And next to it, a date. Today. I stood there looking at it. And I knew that somewhere in this city there were 12 more buildings. 12 basements. 12 keepers. And now they were waiting for my answer. Because the system didn't stop. It just got a new player. And that player is me.